What's up, you guys? I'm Rachel DeMita, and welcome to the Courtside Club. Just this past weekend, Team WNBA beat Team USA in the WNBA All-Star game, which begs the question, is Team USA currently made up of the 12 best players in the WNBA, or did the selection committee get it wrong? We're going to go over all of it today, and of course, I have opinions, so let's jump right into it. Firstly, you guys, I am so sorry that I did not have an episode for you last week, but I was quite literally making a trip around the world in 7 days. I vlogged the whole experience. I was in Abu Dhabi with Team USA on the men's side, and I got to go to both of their games. It was super fun. I have so much footage from it, so that video will be going up later this week, but I apologize for the lack of content last week. We had been doing so well and been so consistent, but yeah, this trip got me. So anyway, back to WNBA All-Star. I tuned into the game this past weekend, and if you guys remember, we actually made a video about this, how WNBA All-Star was going to be different this year since it is an Olympic year. So Team USA, the team that will be going to the Olympics, going to Paris, is going up against the rest of the WNBA All-Stars. So on Team WNBA, it was going to be the first time that we saw Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese play together. There were also some other Fever players, and there was arguably the biggest snub besides Caitlin Clark off of Team USA also in the WNBA All-Stars, and that was Arike Ogunbowale. I said before this game that Team USA better win, because if they don't, it is honestly just not a good look for the selection committee, because if you guys remember, when Team USA was originally announced and Caitlin Clark specifically was left off of that roster, there was a lot of outrage and a lot of people wondering, why wouldn't you put her on the team? Why wouldn't you put the face of the WNBA, whether she's the best player or not, the one who has gotten more fans involved in this game than any other player in history, why wouldn't you put her on the team? And the selection committee at the time essentially said, we picked the 12 best players in the WNBA at this moment. We're not going by how many fans they can get, press, media, all this kind of stuff. They basically just said, hey, these are the 12 best players. Caitlin is not one of the 12 best players right now, so she is not on the team. So with all of that information, I had been saying, Team USA better kick their butts, because there is no reason, if these are your 12 best players, that they should lose to literally anybody else. So now let's fast forward to the WNBA All-Star game, where Team WNBA actually beat Team USA. So I actually tweeted last night during the game, Team WNBA beating Team USA is not a good look for the selection committee. This tweet had over 3.4 million views, 37,000 likes, and so many replies. And a lot of the replies actually were telling me to look back at the game in 2021 where this same thing happened. Team WNBA beat Team USA in that game as well, because that was also an Olympic year. However, my point still stands, because in this year in particular, there were so many more eyeballs on the game than there have ever been, and there was so much more controversy around the roster that was put together for Team USA, and there was a lot of question marks as to people who were included and those who were left off. I also had a lot of replies here and on one of the TikToks that I made saying that, oh, Team USA just wasn't trying very hard because they don't want to get hurt before the Olympics. If you watch the game, you would know that that was completely false. This game had more of a competitive edge than any of the NBA All-Star games that I have seen in the past 10 years. Those women were playing so hard, they were playing full court defense, and they were specifically doing the same thing that they do to Caitlin Clark in any other game in the season. They were face guarding her, they were trapping her. There's this clip, it's so funny, of Kelsey Plum like basically face guarding her full court, and Caitlin is just like, all right, whatever, man. So in this game, Caitlin Clark had 10 assists, which is a record for a rookie in an All-Star game, and she had 4 points. She didn't shoot very well from 3-point range, but like I said, they were playing that same face guard defense that a lot of these teams play on her, so she was able to facilitate and help her teammates get involved. Angel Reese came through with another double-double, and there was this also really cool play of Caitlin Clark in transition passing to Angel Reese for the bucket. They high-five after. I know that was really cool for fans to see because there has been this kind of rivalry that has been created and this rumor that the two don't like each other. However, there is one more player that needs to be talked about in this game, and that is Arike Ogunbowale, who I said before was one of the very obvious snubs off of Team USA. So Arike in the first half had 0 points, and Cheryl Miller was the coach for Team WNBA, and I guess from what Arike said, she said, hey, just relax, play your game. So she played her game, and she went off for 34 points in the second half, and she shot 8 for 13 from three-point range. And these honestly weren't just spot-up three-pointers. She was stepping back into them. She had a floater that was like 1 foot in front of the three-point line. It was basically like no lid on the bucket. She was unconscious. She was absolutely on fire, and it was so cool to see. She won MVP of this WNBA All-Star game. So Arike actually did an interview on Nightcap, which is Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco's show, and she essentially said that she removed her name from being considered for Team USA. She said, when it comes to the Olympic trials, it really doesn't have much to do with your game. It's really about who they feel like fits with the team. So I actually took my name out of the pool months ago. That's not saying I didn't think maybe last year I would be on the team and I was good enough to make the team, but when the list came out, I knew I would not be on that one. Kind of basically alluded to the politics. Chad Ochocinco asked her about it, and she said whether that's USA Basketball, whether that's All-Star teams, whether that's first team and stuff like that, there's politics. Even with the men's basketball teams, there's politics and everything. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. And that to me, I hadn't seen these quotes before, is honestly just so telling. There was also a year where Nneka Ogwumike, so I know Chiney and Nneka, they're both fantastic women and fantastic players on the court. Nneka was MVP of the WNBA during a season that she was not selected for Team USA. So there have been questionable picks for these teams for many, many years, and I feel like the Team USA selection committee has gotten away with it, and these coaches and these old heads in the WNBA have gotten away with it because they win every year. They win convincingly every year. But the truth of the matter is that no other country in the world that comes close to the talent that is in the United States when it comes to basketball. Basketball on the women's side isn't as much of a global game as it is for the men. There was also quite a bit of bitterness coming from Team USA's coach Cheryl Reeves when she was asked pretty much any questions about Caitlin Clark. And she was asked if there was any second guessing from her on Caitlin Clark not making the team, and she very just spitefully says no. Doesn't elaborate on it, just says no.
For me? Yeah. No.
And it's funny to me how even she coached this game, because if you didn't think Caitlin Clark was the caliber of player that she is, then why would you feel the need to face guard her, to trap her, to defend her like you did in the All-Star game if you didn't think that she was that much of a problem and that she very truly shouldn't have been on Team USA? To me, it just doesn't make sense. And I honestly think because she put so much of her defensive scheme and focus on Caitlin Clark, and because Caitlin Clark, when she is getting shut down offensively in terms of scoring, she is able to dish it out and give it to her teammates and make her teammates better. That was part of the reason that Arike was able to score as many points as she did. It was just in my eyes, and this is, again, not to say that the women who are on Team USA aren't fantastic basketball players. I think for the most part, they got that roster correct. But when there was such an emphasis on the criteria is, these are the 12 best WNBA players, that's why they are on Team USA, and then the 12 best WNBA players lose to a team that was put together and had 2 practices, that is not a good look. I would have had more respect for the committee, for the coaches, for, again, the old heads of the WNBA, if they would have just came out and said, there's a lot that goes into this. It's not only about skill. We do want to include Diana Taurasi because because we know that she won't be playing many more years. So we want to include her. She's a great leader. We want to include Chelsea Gray because she's a vet and she's coming off of, like, say what it is. Brittany Griner, to me, played awful in that All-Star game, and there hasn't been many games where I'm just so impressed by Brittany Griner's game. I honestly think Angel Reese outplayed Brittany Griner in the WNBA All-Star game as a rookie, as somebody who is 6 inches shorter than Brittany Griner. I wish that they were just transparent and honest about why they selected the players that they did, because it clearly wasn't just based on skill and based on, hey, these are our 12 best women. They're probably going to win gold. If they don't, I would be shocked. There's fantastic players on that team. I think Asia will lead the way. Breanna Stewart will lead the way. She had 31 last night. She had a great game. But it is just funny, and it did feel like the Team WNBA was out for revenge, including Arike, including Caitlin, including Angel Reese. And when you look at the end of the game, when all of them are lined up, you can just see the disappointment on Team USA's face and how happy and how much fun Team WNBA had in that game. And there was also a clip where Diana Taurasi basically said, "This effing sucks. We have to be ready to go every time." And you see them in the huddle after the game. And so anybody who is sitting here telling me that Team USA didn't go out there and try their best to win and play their hardest, you weren't watching the game. You clearly weren't watching the game. They were not coasting. Both sides were going at each other's throats. And it was really cool to see. I thought that it was, like I said, one of the best All-Star games that I've seen in the past decade. If the NBA were able to adopt something like this that gives the players a little bit of incentive and motivation to play, I feel like that would make NBA All-Star so much better. But I want to know, what do you guys think? Did you watch the WNBA All-Star game? Do you think that it put a spotlight on Team USA? Do you think that these coaches and these older higher-ups in the WNBA are doing something wrong by choosing the squad that they're choosing? Or do you think it's fine and we're gonna win gold anyway, so who cares? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it, and click that little subscribe button because we upload new videos every single week, except if I'm traveling around the world in 7 days, which I don't normally do. So otherwise, we'll upload new videos every single week, and we have some fun news and announcements and vlogs coming. So make sure that you guys stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Ooh, Anna. I didn't drink my green juice at all.